Did you know that the way a woman asks a question can actually be her way of flirting? As men grow older, it's easy to assume the days of being flirted with are behind them. But here's something many older men overlook. Women don't stop showing interest. They simply become more subtle and refined in how they express it. Once you're in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, flirtation often shifts into something more nuanced. Instead of bold signals, women may use seemingly casual questions, ones that appear innocent or friendly on the surface, but carry deeper meaning, if you know what to listen for. That's exactly what this video is here to reveal. Today we're diving into 5 specific questions women tend to ask when they're quietly expressing interest. These aren't grand gestures or obvious signs, they're soft, strategic invitations. Think of them as gentle nudges, ways of cracking the door open to see if you're willing to walk through. And once you learn to spot these cues, you might realize that you've been receiving more attention than you ever imagined. Whether you're single, widowed, or simply curious about the social dynamics of this stage in life, this video will offer a fresh perspective. The interest you thought had disappeared. It may have just taken on a quieter, more sophisticated form. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll not only know the 5 questions to look for, but you'll also understand the deeper meaning behind them and how to respond in a way that feels confident, respectful, and true to who you are. Number 1. The curiosity question. One of the first signs a woman might be interested in you is when she starts asking personal, open-ended questions that seem innocent on the surface, but are actually her way of digging deeper. It often starts with something simple like, "So what do you usually do during the week?" Or "What kind of things keep you busy these days?" On the surface, this sounds like polite conversation, but when it's repeated or asked with a warm smile and genuine interest, it's often more than just small talk. It's her way of inviting you to share your life, your routine, and in many cases to find common ground. The reason this matters is because women, especially those over 60, tend to flirt differently than they did when they were younger. They're not likely to compliment your looks outright or make bold moves. Instead, they show interest through curiosity, and they'll ask questions that give you a chance to open up, reveal a little bit about yourself, and make her feel more emotionally connected to you. The question may not be, "Are you single?" but rather, "Do you still do any of the things you loved when you were younger?" or "How did you end up in this town?" It's all part of the same dance, just slower, more graceful, and far more personal. This shift in communication is important to understand because many older men misread it. They assume these questions are just part of casual, friendly conversation. But the truth is, a woman won't ask those types of questions unless she wants to get closer in some way. Think about it. When you're talking to someone you're not interested in, do you really ask them about their childhood hobbies or what kind of dog they used to have? Probably not. These questions are a signal, a nudge, a quiet way of saying, "I want to know you better." Take Robert, a 72-year-old widower who joined a community garden after retiring. He told me how one of the ladies there would always ask about his tomato plants, but then somehow the conversation would drift toward his childhood, his time in the military, and what he liked to do in the evenings. For months, he thought she was just being polite, but when she finally invited him over for coffee, it all clicked. Those questions had been her way of testing the waters. This is the power of the curiosity question. It's not loud, flashy, or obvious, but it's one of the strongest signals a woman can give. She wants to connect. She wants to hear your story. And she's giving you a chance to step into that conversation, not just as a friend, but as someone who matters. Recognizing this shift, seeing these small invitations for what they are, can make all the difference in your relationships and in your confidence moving forward. Number 2, the teasing compliment. Another subtle sign many older men miss is the teasing compliment. It's not your typical, "you look handsome today." No, it's much softer and more playful. Something like, "I bet you were trouble when you were younger," or "You've got that kind of smile that makes people wonder what you're thinking." These aren't just passing remarks. They're small invitations for you to engage, respond, and in a way flirt back, without it feeling awkward or forced. For women over 60, direct flirting can feel uncomfortable or even out of place, especially if they were raised in an era where modesty was the norm. So instead, they use humor, playful jabs, and light teasing to let you know they're paying attention to you, and not just in a friendly way. It's a gentle nudge wrapped in a compliment, designed to make you feel noticed, maybe even a little flustered, but in the best way possible. What makes this kind of comment so powerful is the emotional nuance behind it. It's not just about what's being said, it's about how it makes you feel. A teasing compliment catches you off guard, makes you laugh, and most importantly, makes you feel seen. That's no small thing, especially for older men who've gone through long marriages, loss, or years of just being someone's dad or grandpa. Being flirted with gently, respectfully, can feel like a spark that lights you up again. The psychology behind it is this: teasing lowers the emotional barrier. It creates a shared space where two people can playfully interact without risking embarrassment. If she says, "You probably broke a few hearts back in the day," and you smile and say, "Just one or two," you've entered her rhythm. You've acknowledged the compliment, returned the playfulness, and started something that feels like chemistry. Think about someone like Frank, a 68-year-old who started attending weekly line dancing classes. One of the ladies there would always joke about his rhythm, saying things like, "You're either really confident or just making it up as you go." She said it with a smile every single time. He used to think she was just being cheeky, but when she offered to show him a few moves after class, just the two of them, it finally dawned on him. She wasn't mocking, she was inviting. The teasing compliment is a signpost, not a detour. It tells you that someone sees you, not just the years in your face or the gray in your hair, but the charm in your step and the warmth in your presence. When you recognize that and respond with confidence, something special can begin to unfold. Don't dismiss those playful words. They may be more sincere than you think. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Number 3, the unnecessary favor. One of the most overlooked signals a woman is genuinely interested in you, especially after 60, is when she offers help that you didn't ask for. And I'm not talking about general kindness or neighborly gestures. I'm talking about favors that go just a bit beyond what's necessary, like bringing you homemade cookies even though you mentioned you were cutting back on sweets, or offering to drive you to an appointment just because it's on her way, even though you never brought up needing a ride. These little actions, cloaked in casual generosity, are often invitations in disguise. Why do women express interest through favors? Well, for one, it gives them a way to be close without coming across as too forward. Women in their 60s, 70s and beyond were raised in a time when making the first move was often frowned upon. So instead of declaring interest directly, they show it through small, thoughtful actions, ways to insert themselves gently into your life. More importantly, doing something for someone creates a sense of connection. In psychology, this is known as the Ben Franklin effect. When we do a favor for someone, we tend to like them more, but in this case, it works in reverse too. When someone likes you, they want to do something for you. And when a woman makes the effort to be helpful in a way that isn't expected or required, it's often because she wants to build a bridge, something personal that ties her to you in a meaningful way. Let quote S think about it through a real-life example. Gary, A 72-year-old retiree met a woman named Linda at his community garden club. She started showing up with extra seedlings just in case he needed some, and one day she even brought him a sun hat because she noticed he wasn't wearing one. At first, Gary assumed she was just being motherly, but then she started staying late to help him clean up, and she even remembered the name of his old dog he'd mentioned once. That's when it clicked. These weren't random acts of kindness, they were signs of deeper interest. And it's not always about the favor itself, it's about the emotional subtext. A woman offering unsolicited help is trying to show you that you matter to her, that she's watching, listening, and caring in small ways. She wants you to need her just a little, not because you're weak, but because you're worth the effort. That's not pity, that's attention. Older men often miss this sign because they've been conditioned to value independence. I don't want to be a burden, they'll say. But when a woman goes out of her way to help, she's not doing it because she sees you as a burden. She's doing it because she sees something in you that makes her want to be near. So next time a woman offers a favor that feels just a bit too specific or thoughtful or well-timed to be coincidence, pause and take it in. It might just be her way of knocking gently on the door of your life, waiting to see if you'll let her in. Number 4, the memory test. Sometimes the biggest clues a woman is into you aren't in what she says, but in what she remembers. And this one slips past most men, without a second thought. When a woman recalls something you said weeks ago, something small, maybe even something you forgot yourself, that's not just coincidence. That's intention, that's attention, and more often than not, that's attraction. Why? Because when a woman brings up a past detail, especially something insignificant to her but meaningful to you, it means she's mentally holding on to parts of you. She's storing pieces of your story, because you matter enough for her to do so. Women aren't doing this for every man they talk to. They're doing it for the one who stood out, even if he doesn't realize it. Take for instance a man named Frank, 68, who met a woman at a local book club. They talked once about a fishing trip he took with his grandson, something he thought was just casual small talk. 2 weeks later, she walked up and asked, "Did your grandson end up catching that trout?" That wasn't just politeness, that was her showing him that she was listening, and more importantly that she remembered and she wanted him to know it. Now, let's dig into the psychology behind this. Memory is tied to emotional engagement. Our brains don't hold on to everything. We remember what strikes a chord. When someone brings up something you said in a way that shows care and context, that's a sign they were emotionally present in that moment. And for women, it's often their way of letting you know quietly that you left a mark. But here's the tricky part. Many older men dismiss these memory callbacks as friendly conversation or just being nice. They don't realize that these moments are like breadcrumbs, leading you gently toward understanding someone's deeper intentions, especially in later life, when dating might feel less direct or more subtle. These little signals matter more than ever. In fact, for women over 60, remembering something about you and bringing it up in conversation is often safer and more socially acceptable than giving a compliment or making a move. It allows her to show warmth without risking embarrassment. It's a feeler, a test, and an invitation all wrapped into one. Let's go back to Frank. The more they talked, the more he realized she wasn't just making conversation. She remembered he liked caramel coffee. She remembered his dog's name. She even remembered his hip surgery date. These weren't facts stored by accident. They were small gifts quietly handed back to him as if to say, "I care." If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 5. The compliment in disguise. There's a certain kind of compliment that doesn't sound like a compliment at all. It's not "you're handsome" or "you look good for your age." It's something a little more clever, a little more subtle, and many older men completely miss it when it happens. But when a woman says something like, "You don't seem like the other men your age," or "You've got such a calming presence," that's not small talk. That's often a quiet flirtation wrapped in a veil of respect. You see, women, especially women over 50, tend to compliment men in ways that feel safe and emotionally intelligent. Instead of focusing on looks, they may draw attention to a man's demeanor, values, or even how he made them feel. These compliments are less about appearance and more about identity. And when a woman offers one of these compliments, she's not just observing, she's admiring. Often she's hinting that she's noticed something others haven't. Let's take an example. A 72-year-old man named Alan was having coffee at a church group when a woman turned to him and said, "You know, it's rare to meet a man who actually listens without interrupting. You make people feel heard." To Alan, it sounded like a polite comment, but to her, it was a way to let him know she appreciated something deeper: his presence, his patience, his steadiness. What Alan didn't realize is that this kind of compliment reveals interest on a more emotional level. It's her way of saying, "I see you." In a world where many older men feel invisible, and because men are often used to hearing compliments about their work or achievements, they don't always catch on when the compliment is about who they are as a person. Psychologically, this taps into a concept called emotional attribution. When someone makes us feel good about ourselves in a unique or insightful way, we begin to associate that good feeling with them. It forms a connection, one that goes beyond just friendly words. And for women, this method of complimenting is often a gentle approach to bridge that connection without putting themselves in a vulnerable position. It also explains why these compliments may come out of nowhere. She might start with something ordinary, talking about the weather or asking about your favorite book, and then out of the blue she'll say something like, "I bet your grandkids adore you. You've got that trustworthy look." That kind of comment isn't random, it's intentional, it's meant to land. But here's the thing, many older men have been taught to be humble, or have simply fallen out of practice when it comes to recognizing flirtation. So they smile, nod politely, and move on, never realizing she was hoping he'd catch the deeper meaning, the invitation behind the words. So next time a woman offers a compliment that feels a little more personal, pause for a second. What is she really saying? Is she noticing something most people miss? Is she trying to tell you you're different, in a good way? If so, she may be saying a lot more than it seems. She might be hoping you'll notice her too. Ari's final thoughts. Here's a truth most older men never hear. Just because you're not in your 30s anymore doesn't mean women have stopped noticing you. In fact, some of the most genuine, heartfelt flirtations happen later in life. You just need to know what to look for. Women your age or even younger often express interest more gently, more respectfully. Their words may be wrapped in casual conversation or polite questions, but there's often something meaningful behind them. When you start recognizing those signals, something powerful happens. You stop feeling invisible. You stop mistaking interest for friendliness. You begin seeing yourself through their eyes, someone with value, presence, and quiet strength. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about embracing what you already carry: wisdom, warmth, calm, character. These things don't fade with time, they deepen, and they're incredibly attractive. So don't dismiss subtle signals just because they don't sound like a movie pickup line. Many women speak in signals, not shouts. And all it takes is a little awareness to shift everything. A question like, "Do you live alone?" or a soft compliment about your steady energy. Those aren't random, they're intentional, they're personal. So next time a woman lingers a bit longer in conversation, offers a quiet compliment, or asks something that feels a little more intimate, don't brush it off. Don't assume it's nothing. Smile, be present, and maybe ask her a question in return. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and share one insight that stood out to you and how you plan to apply it in your own life. Your stories and reflections truly inspire us. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear this message. Your support helps us keep creating content that uplifts and empowers. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next video.